Hello, I'm Kenny Harlow. I'm happy to say that we're starting to record on our Manual 4 in this series of training books that we just finished that were written by Tara Jones. And we're going to do a brief review over our riding warm-up exercises in this book. We're not going to go into it in detail as we did in the last 3 books because by now you've already seen me do it over and over, so you're probably getting tired of me repeating them. But we're going to go through them pretty quick. And the first one that we're going to use as our riding warm-up is what we call the 2-second game. And the 2-second game is to gain softness in the horse's nose, his jaw, his neck. And so what I'm looking for here is his nose to come to the side, and I'm going to say 1, 2, and release. I'm going to ask his nose to come to the side, say 1, 2, and release. Now, generally I would do this on a horse for about 5 minutes, but since we are on Manual 4, and this is the horse that I've done most of these manuals with, he's already soft. So therefore, I wouldn't stick with it for 5 minutes at this point. If I started this exercise picking up and he got soft right away, then that's all I would do. It's just a couple seconds of it. I probably wouldn't even do a full minute of it. Well, the next exercise that I would go to is called the hip over game in touching the spot. Well, when I say hip over and touch the spot is right here. And what I'm looking for is for the front foot to stop and the hip to go over. As soon as the hip goes over, I let go, and I'm going to walk 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go the other way. Take the hip over, 1, 2, then walk, 1, 2, 3. Take the hip over, and then walk, 1, 2, 3. Take the hip over, and then walk. He did that right away. I didn't have to really add much leg. I didn't have to pull hard. So that's all I would do. What you'll see as we go through this manual is our warm-ups get less and less because our horses have started getting more and more responsive to us. And the next thing that we're going to go to is give and step out. And when I say give and step out, what I like for the horse to do is give his nose slightly to the side, pick his shoulder up, and step out towards 11 o'clock with the left front, and step out towards 1 o'clock with the right front. So I'm going to ask him to give with his nose, pick the shoulder up, step over, and walk forward. Give with his nose, take the shoulder over, and walk forward. Give with his nose, take the shoulder over, and walk forward. I'm going to do it coming right at the camera so you can see this right front foot. I'm going to say give, take the shoulder over, and walk forward. So that's all I would do there, is get it to where it's really no pressure on his mouth, it's no pressure on my legs. And the next thing that I would go to is trotting half circles. Now, this is just nothing more than the 2-second game. I'm going to ask him to trot and give. I'm going to ask him to trot and give. I'm going to ask him to trot and give. I'm going to ask him to trot and give. So right here, I'm looking for him to follow his nose and give nice and soft as he's trotting. I really don't care how fast he trots. I don't care how slow he trots, but I'll say 1, 2, and release. And I'll say 1, 2, and release. I'm going to say 1, 2, and release. Now, if I was to do that and my horse did not soften to me, what I would do is just hold it until he trotted and gave, even if I did a whole circle, and then I would release. But if I say 1, 2, and he's giving, and I say 1, 2, and he's giving, then that's all I'm looking for, is for him to be soft and give and trot, and it'll basically look like you're doing a serpentine. And you can walk. Okay, and that's all it really is to that exercise. You're looking for that horse to get really soft to the bit. You're looking for that horse to stay forward, not change his speed. You don't want to have to keep kicking him to stay in that. So you're going to put your leg on. You're going to ask him to just move forward, give, and stay soft. Well, the next exercise is called the S exercise. And this would be a little bit more advanced warm-up exercise that we couldn't have done before that now we can do. And what I'm going to ask my horse to do is give slightly in one direction. I'm going to ask him to pick up a trot. I'm going to have him give just a little bit to the inside. I'm going to pick this rein up and ask him to move to the right. Now I want him to follow his nose. I'm going to ask him to move to the right. Open the circle up. Now I'm going to ask him to follow his nose. And then I'm going to ask him to move the shoulder to the right. And then I'm going to say, follow your nose. And then I'm going to say, move the shoulder to the right. And then I'm going to say, follow the nose. Now what we want to do is teach this horse that sometimes his nose is going to be to the left. And I'm going to say, go to the right. And then come back to the left. And then go to the right. But come back to the left. Now one of the things I want you to notice is that my inside hand is braced and it's not moving. There I want him to follow his nose. There I don't want him to. There I want him to follow his nose. There I don't want him to. Then I want him to follow his nose. And there I don't want him to. And that is the S exercise. And those are the warm-ups that I'm going to use in this manual because now we've gotten it to where the horse is a little further along. The horse can start doing harder stuff in the warm-up. And then the next thing we want to get into is using your legs and the reins. We want to really define the difference between the two.